and I don't think it's necessarily intentional, but after, how long has this been going on?
3 months.
90 days?
Yeah.
After 90 days, I feel like the virus itself is getting 99.9% of the city's energy and zero to the economic side of things. And I'm tough. I've been through Opryland Park closing. I've been through 2 floods, multiple tornadoes. I've made it through the coronavirus. I'm going to make it through this damn thing. Mm-hmm. But when I'm at the point to going, man, I'm just about to throw the towel in. Let me just go sell suntan lotion down at the Floribama with my buddies, and to hell with this fight. If I'm at that point, something's wrong.
Yeah, no, I feel you, Barrett. I was just actually having a conversation with JP here. And I said, I'm a former professional fighter, trained professional fighters, built multiple businesses, and I'm exhausted. I mean, we have been, it's like forgotten, especially here at East Ivy. I mean, the event industry in Nashville, the small event industry, not one event this year, not one wedding. I mean, our season basically is April 1st through, the end of October, mid-November, especially being an primarily outdoor venue. And when you just shut us down, I mean, it's crushing. We had people getting off of unemployment to come back to work, and then all of a sudden, sorry, nothing we can do. It's happening to the catering companies. It's happening to everybody. And I mean, it was like a nail in the coffin for a lot of the small event industry. It's crippling. I was sitting here today thinking, what exactly do we do? Do we just close everything? I mean, is that what? Because you can't do the start and stop thing and run a business. There's no way to budget. There's no way to plan for the future. So I'm in the same boat as you, man. I'm like, what are we even going to do? I have no idea.
No, you are, saying exactly what everyone else is saying. And I wish the mayor and his advisors and the health department would think that through. And my conversation post decision with the powers to be was, you guys really, really screwed this up. It did not have to go down like this. You could have put drastic reductions in movement. Here's a great example. Let's just say that I'm wrong and they really thought this through. If that was the case, why in the hell did it take until yesterday for them to cancel the fireworks show? Who in their right mind would have thought a week ago, 30 days ago, 60 days ago? I'll give them the 90 at the very beginning. Hell, don't cancel the 4th of July in April. But when you get down to the end of May, early June, and we're still in phase 2, for God's sake, with phase 3 not even on the horizon, and you think, well, this is a good idea. Let's put 50,000 people in downtown Nashville and wonder if it's going to spike. If they really had a strategic plan in place, they would have canned the 4th of July festivities weeks ago. And that's an economic hit to myself. I mean, hell, if you've got a business in Bellevue, you're dead on the 4th of July night because everybody's in downtown or a surrounding business. So all of us wanted them to cancel the 4th of July stuff well before they did. And I think that's an obvious head scratcher when you are 72 hours from spending $750,000 on fireworks that our city doesn't have. Hell, just from an economic standpoint, they should have said, this isn't the year to blow money.
Right.
I feel like, and I don't think it's orchestrated. I don't think anybody's that smart to probably put this play in. But it almost feels like the only people they want anyone to work for at this point is the government.
Oh, listen, no, it absolutely feels like that. This is a war on business. That is what's going on. Nobody wants to talk about it, but that's what's going on. That's what it is. Like we're at war right now. You have the government, the city of Nashville is more concerned with looking good and doing what the media is kind of driving everybody with fear. everybody's dying of coronavirus. Let's just be real. I was going over the numbers with you yesterday. Under the age of 40, there, as of last week, about 5,800 cases, there was 0 deaths. The first death was at 41 years old. I mean, a better strategy, a more logical strategy would be to stay away rather than stay home. Separate the people. Have older people, 65 plus, stay away. Have younger people that are in the bars and in the restaurants stay away from the older people. Go with the actual data. Be honest about the numbers. They're afraid by saying, you know what, if you're under 40 or if you're healthy, you don't have that much to worry about. That one person's going to die or a few people are going to die. Absolutely, but people die in car accidents every day. People die of cancer every day. Hospital errors, 250,000 to 450,000 people die every single year because of hospital errors. And I don't even know if the coronavirus is going to catch up to that one. So, the idea that you just shut everything down because numbers are going up. Well, numbers are going up in a specific demographic that is not at as high of a risk. So no, we're at a war on business at this point. That's what we're dealing with. Whether they're meaning to do it or not, that's what they're projecting on us. And at some point we got to fight back because
you're right. And Clay, you're spot on whether they mean to be or not. We are now in a battle of survival. If you own a business in this town, if you're not a big box retail store. And that's what's very frustrating. And I said that yesterday, maybe to you and to some other folks. And I don't mean any disrespect. I can't remember the gentleman's name that's the doctor from Meharry that's, on the press conferences every day, and Dr. Caldwell and Jenger and all of them. They keep talking about we're all in this together. Yeah. That is such a line of BS that I don't even watch the press conferences anymore, because I'm tired of hearing about that. If we really were in this all together, then Walmart would only be selling shoes and clothes. Costco would only be selling shoes and clothes. They would have picked the phone up yesterday and called American Airlines and United and said, hey, now that you're going to fill every seat, we don't want your planes landing in Nashville. They would go across the board and tell car dealerships, hey, we don't want anybody test driving vehicles because of cross-contamination, and I don't want those businesses to have that burden. That's ridiculous to do to them, just like what they're doing to us is ridiculous. Some smart additional social distancing practices would have been the prudent thing to do. Instead, our numbers go, what the hell are they going to do in September? We go through this 14 days. Inevitably, the numbers are going to go down. It will. Eventually all the numbers will go down because we're either going to have a vaccine or herd immunity is going to kick in. That's the only way this ends. Yeah. And any medical expert that I talk to that's not part of the press conference circus will say this isn't going away. Whether they close this for 14 days or for 114 days, if we reopen in 114 days, the numbers are going to go back up.
Of course. Well, and that was the thing when we opened back up, 6 weeks ago, or whenever it opened back up. I'm losing track of time at this point in life. But I said, of course, the numbers are going to go up. People are going to be out and about. Flattening the curve. All that talk about flattening the curve, it was just delaying the inevitable. Yep. And a lot of people went along with it. Everybody's going along with it, staying at home. Being smart because. We're being good people. We wanted to give the medical people time to get the PPE. We wanted to get let them ramp up. But now there's no stopping this thing. This thing is out and about. The smartest thing to me would be to get people to stay away, separate the people by ages.
Yeah, and you're right, and that's where a lot of people refer to moving the goalposts. And to your point, at the beginning, it was, we got to figure out what's going on. How are we passing this? And that was the first 2 weeks. How is it being transmitted? Who's got it? Where's it coming in from? And then after that, it quickly transitioned into, we've got to give the medical community time to get ready. Right. Because, this is, going to be in biblical proportions of devastation. So then the hospitals got ready. Okay. And then nobody wants to, at the press conference, not one time did anyone at the press conference ever acknowledge the fact that every major hospital in this city had closed down wings of their hospital and furloughed their employees because there wasn't any patients. I mentioned earlier that I sit on the board for the MCC. I forget how many thousands of beds that the government paid for to have them ready to go there in an LP field. Thank God we didn't need it. But if the numbers get completely out of control again, where are those beds? They're sitting somewhere. We could reactivate if we ever got to that. But if we don't get to that, and the 31 to 45-year-olds or the 21 to 45 that are getting it, the hospitalization rate with them is nil. It is so low that this is a false narrative that we're going to overrun the health industry now. I do believe that was the case at the beginning. Sure. I really do. We didn't have enough masks. We didn't have gloves. We didn't have ventilators, all that mess. But now that we've got it, we've got to push the envelope a little bit and keep our elderly and our sick at bay and roll on.